a moment, transcribe, presenting Charles Boyer. Hello, my dear. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, Michel.
The National Broadcasting Company takes pleasure in presenting a new series starring Charles Boyer as Michel. Michel is a citizen of Paris and a citizen of the world. He's a lover of all the good things in life. As he sits in that fashionable restaurant, one would never know that the elegant Michel does not have a single sou in his pocket.
Mr. Conway, this was an excellent dinner. Every course has been a sheer work of art.
And how do you feel about the paintings on 100-franc notes?
Beautiful. These are the kind of paintings I would like to collect.
Well, Michel, in order for you to enjoy this artistic dinner, I will have to be separated from a whole pocketful of masterpieces.
Oh, but Mr. Conway, think. A dinner alone is like a solo instrument playing by itself in an empty hall. A dinner with good company is like a symphony.
You're full of wonderful figures of speech, but I want a true story tonight. I have an assignment to write a piece for an American magazine about a painting in the Louvre. I've been wandering through the place until my arches are dropping, and I haven't hit on an angle yet.
Oh, but my friend, there is a story in every stone in the Louvre, in every brush stroke of every painting. Think of the Winged Victory standing mightily atop the marble stairs. Think of Venus brooding in the great moonlit silence down that long corridor that seems as endless as time. And think of painting 137 in the main gallery. Yes.
What about painting 137?
This is a story I myself lived, my friend.
Well, tell me. There's $200 for you if this is the yarn I need.
$200? I wish I had enough money to buy every painting by every novice painter in Paris. For all of them need encouragement. When an artist is just beginning, a mere smile of appreciation is like a gift from an emperor.
Go on, Michel. Go on with the story.
Which perhaps we should call The Adventure of Painting 137. Many years ago, I shared an attic apartment on the left bank with a struggling young painter. His name was Raymond Rameau. He was a colorful personality, as most artists are. But he felt his failure even more than any of the others. For inside his head, he had a dream.
Michel, come here. Look at this.
Oh, have you finished your new painting, Raymond?
I've just filled in the last few touches on the trees. Most of the work I did in the park, where my subject was all around me. So? Well, how do you like it?
Well, I think it's very good, Raymond. You know, I'm no art critic. I know very little about these
But
things.
what does it say to you? What do you hear when you look at it?
Well, I see a park in Paris, a very lovely park. And the trees are so green, it's quite obviously spring. And these two things that... What are they, those two figures? They're a bit vague, but they might be lovers, strolling arm in arm.
Oh, I am a failure. I am no good at all. The painting is worthless.
Oh, you're wrong, Raymond. It's a beautiful painting. It's fresh, almost alive.
But you do not hear the park.
Hear it?
Yes. This is the dream I have had inside my head, Michel, that when people see my painting, they will hear the wind in the trees, they will hear birds singing, the heartbeat of the lovers, the music of a romantic dance band in the distance. I want them to hear as well as see all the magic of this Paris park.
Look, perhaps you are expecting too much from a mere canvas and some tubes of paint.
Oh, if I am a failure, Jeanette will have nothing to do with me. What can I tell her? She's coming here tonight. My shoes are not sturdy enough even to take her for a walk. And if my work and my love are both failures, why should a man live?
My dear friend, genius is merely the talent to resist discouragement. One must continue to hope. I'll tell you what I'll do. A distant cousin of mine is an art dealer. He has a fine shop on the avenue of President Wilson. I personally will take your painting to him. If he buys it, you can take your Ginette to that enchanting new cafe on the Boulevard Saint-Germain.
You are better than a friend, Michel. You are my brother, my father, my patron.
Michel,
Good evening, cousin.
what brings you into my art shop? Thought you were interested in more frivolous matters.
Perhaps.
If you're spending your time looking at paintings, what are all the women of Paris doing?
You were always a joker, cousin.
What's that you have under your arm?
Painting? I want you to look at it. There. What do you think?
It's not bad. Not good. Not bad.
Do you hear anything?
Hear anything?
Yes. When you look at this painting, do you hear anything?
This is a square of canvas, Michel, not a phonograph record.
All right. How much is it worth?
Worth? Absolutely nothing. It's a hodgepodge. And forgive me. You painted?
No, a friend. And I thought hodgepodges were in style in paintings these days.
Yes, a hodgepodge by a famous painter would bring something. A big blob by Saran or Picasso is worth a fortune. What's your friend's name?
Raymond Rameau.
I never heard of him. So this, unfortunately, is not worth 10 francs.
20.
Yes, I'll give you 10 francs. This is a stout piece of canvas. The backside can be used.
But couldn't you keep it in your shop on consignment? Perhaps a customer might take a fancy to it and pay a few hundred francs.
Who buys paintings by unknowns? Paris is filled with unknowns. If I bought all the paintings, I'd be bankrupt by morning.
But don't you ever gamble?
One gambles at Monte Carlo, Michel, or at the racetrack. In the world of art, you bet only on the sure thing.
I walked home sadly that night, Mr. Conway, Raymond's painting under my arm. And all along the street, I saw the flickering lights from the musty attics, the poets, the sculptors, the painters, wooing with words and clay and paint the elusive mistress, Fame. Well, I climbed the stairs to our apartment. Then I heard Ginette. She was lovely, but she had a tongue like Jezebel.
Do you expect me to wait until I'm 80? Why, Ma, you don't have enough money to buy a shoelace. Do you expect to keep a wife with such a fortune?
Perhaps tonight we will have good news. Michel took one of my paintings to an art.
Oh, Michel, a fellow loafer.
May the fellow loafer come in?
Michel, what news?
My friend,
Oh, you brought it back.
I tried, Raymond. I'm sorry.
You see? And what were you painting this time? An orange that looks like a firecracker? Chimpanzee that looks like a baby carriage? Or perhaps a baby carriage that looks like a chimpanzee?
Look at this one. I think you'll like this one. Here, Raymond.
What is it?
It's the park, Jeanette, where we have walked so often arm in arm.
Now, isn't that a silly thing to paint? Why would anybody pay anything to have this painting? You can walk into the real park free any day of the week, no charge.
Look at it closely. Listen to it.
Listen to it. Honestly, Raymond, you're even a little more crazy than it's absolutely necessary for an artist to be.
Listen, please. What do you hear as you look at this painting? Tell me.
I hear an art dealer saying very loudly, I won't buy it. It's a piece of junk.
Oh, mademoiselle, I have watched Raymond paint. He puts on canvas what he feels in his heart, and this is good.
But what's the point of painting something nobody looks at? Does he paint for the spiders?
Well, I believe that artists have a rare gift to see ahead, to chart our feelings 50 years from now.
No, you're as crazy as he is. You're a pair, all right.
I think you'd better leave.
Michel, please.
Don't worry. You won't have to kick me out. I was going.
But, Jeanette, I adore you.
Come around and adore me when you're a success. I cannot love a failure.
Jeanette!
Good night.
Michel, what shall I do?
Go to sleep, Raymond. At night, blackness hangs over the city, and the whole world seems to be sitting on our shoulders. But when the sun rises and Paris wakes up, it offers every man a new world, freshness, a new beginning, 24 hours to work and to play and to love.
I cannot be such an optimist.
Calm. Try to sleep, Raymond. Sleep helps us remember many forgotten things. And sleep helps us also to forget. Such a discouraged young man. What could I do? I slept fitfully. And in my dreams, I seemed to see a candle guttering in the wind. I almost seemed to hear the wind. And suddenly, I sat up in bed, and the wind was blowing into the attic. The door swung open, and I knew I was alone. Raymond! Raymond! I turned on the light. On the table, I found a note. My dear Michel, when you read this, I will be in a better world. I cannot endure being a failure. I cannot live without my Jeanette. Life is too bitter for me. Give Jeanette my last picture. Perhaps one day she will come to love it. The rest of my paintings, use them to light the stove. I am a failure. I am better at the bottom of the river. Adieu, old friend Raymond. Raymond! Raymond! Oh, but surely the police can do something.
What? What can we do?
Well, drag the Seine. At least find his body. At least let us give him a decent burial.
We've done what we can. We have made an entry.
Oh, an entry.
Frankly, if we spent all our time dragging the river for silly young artists, we'd never catch any criminals. Take my advice. Forget it.
But one does not forget a man like Raymond. His paintings were everywhere in our little attic apartment. They were strange, perhaps. The Eiffel Tower leaned like the Tower of Pisa. There was an apple that looked like a flaming hand grenade, but the colors were vivid, and I could not destroy them. I followed Raymond's first instruction. I sent Jeanette the picture of the park. The rest I decided to take to Raymond's mother. They were all that was left of her son. Madame Rameau lived in a little village in the French Alps near Grenoble. She was a lodging housekeeper. She took in boarders, vacationists who came to the mountains.
Yes, monsieur. You wish a room?
Oh, no, Madame Rameau. I am Michel.
Michel?
Yes. Perhaps Raymond has written to you about me. You see, we share an apartment together in Paris.
Something must be wrong. He must be ill. It's been such a long time since he's written to me.
Well, it is so difficult to tell you.
What's wrong?
He was so unhappy. He did not wish to live.
Raymond.
I have brought you his pictures. It is his legacy.
His pictures?
Yes. If there is anything I can do.
Why did he have to leave here? He loved the mountains so. He had never gone to Paris. He could have helped me here to cart the luggage and tend to the borders.
He wanted to paint. He felt very deeply, and he had a wonderful dream that his paintings would make people hear music and voices and sounds.
Are they good pictures? Are they worth anything?
Oh, they are very interesting pictures.
This one. What is this picture?
It is an apple, Madame Rameau.
Oh, my poor Raymond. Was he completely out of his mind?
No, Madame Rameau. There is a language which artists speak, with color and movement. Perhaps we do not understand it, but it can still be a beautiful language.
One of my lodgers is a painter. Perhaps he would know if these have any value. He's here painting mountains, and the other lodgers have mentioned that he's very famous.
Oh? What painter is that?
Oh, I've forgotten his name. It's here somewhere in the register. I might say I've glanced at this man's paintings. All the mountains look like valleys. Everything is upside down and inside out. One day he drew a painting of this lodging house, and it looked just like a toadstool. Here is his name. Monsieur Saran.
Saran is here? The great Saran? But, Madame Rameau, this is the most famous painter in France.
Oh, to think of it. Such an untidy man, the most famous painter in France. Such a strange one, too. There's always green paint in his beard.
Oh, show him Raymond's paintings by all means. Perhaps he will know by looking at them that your son painted with his heart.
Here is Monsieur Serran's room. Room 1 on the ground floor. Oh, how he hates steps, that one. Monsieur?
Who is it?
It is Madame Rameau. May I come in?
In.
Oh, Forgive me for interrupting. Would you take a moment and look at these paintings?
Paintings? I never look at anyone else's paintings. Leonardo da Vinci occasionally when I feel holy. Michelangelo for faces. Rubens perhaps when I'm in a mood, but no others. They merely confuse me.
Please, as a great favor, my son's friend has brought these all the way from Paris. Just look at them quickly and say they are good or they are no good. I would like very much to know.
If you promise not to serve cabbage again tonight, it's a deal.
You shall have a roast and a private souffle, the recipe of which only Mama Rameau knows.
Madame, when you break down the barriers of a man's mind and go directly to his stomach, what can he do? Hand me the painting.
Oh, here you are, Monsieur Serran.
Did you paint these?
Why, no, monsieur.
Who painted these? Where is the man who painted these?
Is something wrong? Has he committed some great crime?
Where is he?
What did he do? Why do you shout so?
Look! Look at the tri-dimensional integration of the color line.
That, whatever you just said, is in the pictures?
Are they acceptable pictures, Monsieur Serran?
Acceptable? Why, any fool can see that the perspective differential and the underlining expressionism is dynamically post-impressionist.
Is that good, monsieur?
Good! This is the only work I've seen that's better than my own. This man is the discovery of our generation. He is pure genius.
Genius?
My little boy was a genius. My Raymond was a genius.
Well, where is he? Bring him to me. He shall become famous. Where is he?
Alas, William, he is dead. That was many years ago, Mr. Conway. If you read art books, you know that today the name Raymond Rameau is almost as famous as the name Serran.
Madame Rameau must have been very happy.
Oh, yes, Mr. Conway. It changed her whole life. She was no longer obliged to take in boarders. Why? One still life alone. The piece of fruit. Bad enough to keep Madame Rameau in a ray of fruits the rest of her life. She died rich and content. She left her newfound fortune to a local orphanage. All the children are now being fed correctly because Raymond drew such beautiful pictures. Though to her dying day, she couldn't quite understand why everybody was making such a fuss.
And Jeanette?
Jeanette? Well, she sold her painting of the park for a fortune. It now hangs in the Louvre. You must go see it sometime. It's painting number 137 in the main gallery.
Did you ever see her again?
Yes, once.
What was she like?
In a moment, my friend. We're getting ahead of the story. For this yarn takes what you writers call an unexpected twist.
Go on, Michel.
About a year ago, my cousin, the art dealer, came to see me. He was in quite a passion.
Cousin Michel, dear Cousin Michel, you must help me.
I figured that you needed a favor.
I've always been your friend, Michel. And after all, we are blood relations. You roomed with the great Rameau. You knew his work. You are the only one I can turn to.
Why should you care about Rameau? You remember I brought his painting to you. You just laughed. Well, you could have had it for 200 francs. Today, it hangs in the Louvre. You could not buy it for any price.
Oh, I made a mistake. We are each of us entitled to one horrible blunder in our lives. This was my mistake.
See, young people should be helped. Doesn't pay in this world to be selfish like you.
Oh, you are right, cousin. You are absolutely right. Tonight I shall visit the attics of the left bank. I shall purchase the work of an unknown.
Well, that does not bring Raymond Rameau back to life.
Oh, in his memory, I shall set up a scholarship.
Very well. You do not deserve it, but I will help you if I can.
Good. After Rameau jumped into the river, you distributed his paintings, right?
Yes.
Well, I've just had a communication from an art dealer in Montreux in Switzerland. Two paintings, two originals have just turned up. He is certain they are Rameau's.
Oh, no, that's impossible. One I gave to Jeanette, who sold it for a fortune. The others I took to Madame Rameau. Oh, perhaps they are some of these.
No, they are new subjects, not in the catalog, never before seen.
No, they are obviously forgeries.
This I must know. Would you, Michel, for a good fee, go to Switzerland and investigate the matter? I must know if they are fakes.
You do not deserve any favors connected with Raymond Rameau, but since you mention a fee, after all, even an art lover must eat. And so I traveled to Montreux. I went to the art dealer there. He showed me 2 paintings. I looked at them, and I was certain they were painted by Raymond. But how? How could they have been? So I asked the name of the man who had brought them in. He gave me the name and address. Philippe Bourget, dry goods merchant, in the village of Saint-Martin, 16 miles north of Montreux. I suppose I shall never forget the moment I entered that shop.
May I help you, monsieur?
Yes. Raymond!
Hmm?
Raymond! It's you!
I beg your pardon, monsieur.
You are alive, Raymond!
Shh, please, not so loud.
You are...
No, go away, Michel. What would my customers think if they
Raymond.
knew I was once a starving bohemian?
Raymond, how wonderful to see you. To think you did not jump into the river after all.
The water was very cold that night. I was a coward.
Oh, thank the Lord you were such a coward.
Instead of plunging into the water, I came to Switzerland and plunged into the dry goods business. Oh, but I would be ruined if anybody knew I had once been an unsuccessful dabbler in paint.
But unsuccessful, my dear Raymond.
Michel, please. My name is now Bourget, Philippe Bourget. You must meet my wife, my son. Oh, Michel, this is a joy I never knew was possible back in those dreadful days. To have a wonderful, loving wife, a growing son, a weekly income. How did you find me?
The art dealer in Montreux. There were 2 paintings.
Oh, I should never have done. I'm happy to see you again, Michel, but I should never have done.
No, monsieur, I don't understand this at all.
I had an urge to see if I could be successful as a painter now that I am more mature. I thought I would try 2 paintings again, merely as a hobby.
Hobby?
And when I had finished them, they didn't seem too bad, so I thought I might be able to get a few francs for them.
Few francs?
You see, I'm planning to expand my shop, Michel. A woman's shoe department, an annex where we will sell corsets. I thought it was a way to make a little money.
You thought you could be successful, my dear Raymond? Don't you ever read any art books? Don't you ever get any news of the Paris art world?
In Saint-Martin, no. I've managed to keep myself cut off from my old life. It's better forgotten.
Raymond, look at me. You must come to Paris with me, right away. I must show you what has happened.
I have told you, Michel, I am not Raymond Rameau. I am Philippe Bourget.
But my friend, don't you understand? Raymond Rameau is the most celebrated dead artist in Paris.
The most... Michel? I will come with you to Paris. Philippe Bourget will take a short vacation from women's corsets.
He begged me not to give away his secret, not to his wonderful little wife or to his son. And so we traveled back to Paris together incognito. The first person Raymond asked to see was Dinette. I arranged an appointment. I told her I wanted to bring a newspaper man.
What did Jeanette look like?
You would not believe it. She was a dove.
Oh.
Loud, raucous, fat, loaded with diamonds. Rich for having sold his painting, rich for making up stories about him for the Sunday papers. Ah, what an interview that was. Raymond had grown a beard, and she didn't recognize him at all.
Oh, monsieur, the memory of my beloved Raymond will always be green for me. Oh, you see, I loved him very much.
Oh, I must write that down. Loved him very much.
Yes, write that down.
I suppose I would have done anything for him.
Done anything for... Oh, yes.
Tell me, don't you think my friend here resembles Raymond?
Oh, no. Not for a minute. Oh, he was a different type altogether. Young, romantic. Were you privileged to know the great Rameau personally, monsieur?
Yes.
Oh?
For a while we were quite close.
Oh?
Slept in the same bed. Ate from the same dish.
That's strange. He never mentioned you.
We had a falling out.
Oh.
A few more questions, mademoiselle?
Oh, no. If you wish to know anything more about the great Rameau, you must read my forthcoming book. It is written in collaboration with a certain newspaper man entitled My Secret Life with Rameau. This is a sequel to my book currently on the stand entitled Raymond Rameau, Painter and Lover.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yes, monsieur. I loved him very much. Please pass the bonbon.
Oh, thank you, mademoiselle, for a most illuminating interview.
Oh.
Now we will bid you good day.
Oh, good day, monsieur.
Good day.
Oh,
Oh.
Well, you are very lucky, my friend.
Oh, the luckiest man in the world, Michel. To think I managed to escape the fate of being married to that painted cow.
I congratulate you. Committing suicide was the smartest thing you ever did in your life.
I want to go right home. Back to Switzerland, back to my wonderful wife and son, my blessed dry goods store.
Now, wait, my friend. We must pay one more visit to the Louvre, to the main gallery of the Louvre, to see painting 137.
What do you want me to see here, Michel?
The picture? Very beautiful picture. Very famous picture. A painting which has given pleasure to many people from all parts of the world.
When I was young and foolish, it was my ambition to have a picture hanging in the Louvre.
Look, Raymond. Painting 137.
The part? My picture?
Yes.
Oh. I remember vaguely there was something I had in mind when I painted this. Now, what could it have been?
Look here in the guidebook. It tells what the picture is about.
Isn't that remarkable?
Listen to this, Raymond. It says, when people see this painting, they seem to hear the wind in the trees. They hear the birds singing. And in the distance, it seems that a romantic orchestra is playing beautiful music.
Oh, Michel. Jeanette got just what she wanted, money, success. But so did I. So did I.
Yes, my friend.
Philippe Bourget is going back to Switzerland. One must not disturb the fame of the late Raymond Rameau.
And I shall go to my cousin, the art dealer, and tell him that those two new paintings are forgeries. Raymond Rameau ended his life many years ago, and perhaps began a greater life. And that, Mr. Conway, is the story of painting 137.
Remarkable. But to give up fame like that.
Why not? Who can say that it is fame which makes a man happy? Raymond wished to be famous so he could win Jeanette, but is he not more successful now? Perhaps you might say his life is a work of art.
I must go see that painting immediately. I must stand before it and listen to the sounds and the music.
And when you do, please notice the attendant who stands just alongside the winged victory. He looks like an ordinary Frenchman.
Isn't he?
Oh, no.
What is he?
That man was once a congressman from the state of Idaho.
Well, go on, Michel.
Go on. That, my friend, is another story. And another $200.
Charles Boyer will soon be seen starring in Douglas Sirk's production, The First Legion. Tonight you heard Joan Loring as Jeanette and Herbert Butterfield as Bart Conway. Also in the cast were Larry Dobkin, Raymond Burr, Jeanette Scott, Paul Frees, and Margot Powers. Our show was directed by Nat Wolfe. Tonight's script was written by Lawrence and Lee. Characters of Michel and Bart Conway were created by Ernest Voidya and Clement Scott Gilbert. This program was transcribed. Listen again next week at this same time to Presenting Charles Boyer. Don Stanley speaking.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Among the chime favorites you'll hear on NBC this fall are Bob Hope and Groucho Marx. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.